The neon-lit docks of Proxima Station hummed with the usual chaos of 1,000 species trying to coexist. Cargo haulers bellowed in 12 different languages, fusion engines hissed steam into the recycled air, and somewhere in the distance, a Valkyrian merchant was arguing about import tariffs. Ronan Hale didn't notice any of it anymore. After 3 years working the mechanic bays on the station's lower levels, the symphony of interstellar commerce had become white noise. He wiped grease from his hands onto his already stained coveralls and surveyed the plasma coil he'd just rebuilt. Another ship would fly because of his work. Another crew would make it home. Not bad for a human, eh? He muttered to himself, a habit he'd picked up from too many solitary nights beneath starship hulls. That's when he heard it, a sound that didn't belong in the mechanical symphony. A whimper, weak, desperate, and unmistakably alive. Ronan set down his tools and followed the sound past the repair bay, into the shadowed alley between two massive cargo containers. The station's harsh lighting didn't reach here, but his headlamp cut through the darkness. What he found made him stop breathing. A dragon. Not the mythical earth creatures from ancient stories, but a genuine Draconis stellaris, one of the proud reptilian species that had once ruled 3 star systems before their empire collapsed. This one was massive even in its emaciated state, easily 12 feet from snout to tail. Scales that should have shimmered with iridescent colors were dull and cracked. Wings that could have spanned the width of a shuttle bay were folded tight against a skeletal frame. The dragon's eyes, golden, intelligent, ancient, fixed on Ronan with a mixture of fear and desperate hope. "Please," the dragon rasped in standard galactic, his voice like gravel scraping on metal. "May I have the leftovers, sir? Anything you can spare." Ronan's heart clenched. He'd seen poverty on the station before, refugees, exiles, the unlucky and unwanted. But there was something particularly wrong about seeing a creature that should have been majestic, reduced to begging in the shadows. "What's your name?" Ronan asked gently, crouching to seem less threatening. The dragon hesitated as if the question itself was an unexpected kindness.
Kael'thir?
Once of the House of Crimson Flame, now nothing. "Well, Kael'thir, I don't have leftovers." Ronan watched hope die in those golden eyes before adding, "But I do have a proper meal waiting in my quarters. It's not fancy, just protein synth and some vegetables I've been growing in hydroponics. You'd be doing me a favor. I always cook too much." Kael'thir's head lifted slightly. "You would share a meal with me? I am Draconis. My people enslaved humans on 3 colony worlds before your species joined the Federation and forced our surrender." "That was 200 years ago," Ronan said simply. "And unless you personally enslaved anybody, I don't see how it's your fault. Come on. You look like you haven't eaten in a week." 3 weeks, Kael'thir admitted quietly. Getting a 12-foot dragon through the station without attracting attention proved impossible. But Ronan didn't care about the stares. He led Kael'thir to his modest hab unit and watched as the dragon ate with careful dignity, trying not to seem desperate despite obviously being starved. "Why are you here?" Ronan asked, nursing a cup of synthetic coffee. "Your people have refugee enclaves, support systems." Kael'thir's claws tightened around the bowl. "I fled my enclave. They wanted me to accept charity, to live on the pity of other species, to forget that we were once proud." He laughed bitterly. "I thought I could make my own way. Pride, it seems, is difficult to eat." "Pride doesn't keep you warm either," Ronan said. "But I get it. Wanting to stand on your own." He paused, an idea forming. "You know anything about starship engines?" Kael'thir's eyes widened. Yes. Before the fall, I was a thermal engineer. Draconis can withstand extreme heat. We were invaluable in engine maintenance. Then you've got skills this station needs." Ronan leaned forward. "I've got more work than I can handle alone. The bay supervisor's been asking me to take on an assistant, but most species can't handle the temperatures near the fusion cores. You could, though. You would hire me, just like that?" "I'd be partnering with you," Ronan corrected. "Equal split of the profits, but you'd have to actually show up and work. No charity here, just honest labor for honest pay." For the first time, Kael'thir's scales seemed to brighten slightly, catching the light of Ronan's modest quarters. Why would you help me? Your species has every reason to hate mine." Ronan thought about it, really thought about it. He thought about Earth's bloody history, about how humans had once enslaved each other over something as meaningless as skin color. about how they'd learned, slowly and painfully, that the measure of a person wasn't where they came from, but what they chose to do. Because someone once told me that holding on to old grudges is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die, Ronan said. And because when I look at you, I don't see the Draconis Empire. I just see someone who's hungry and needs a chance. Kelthir was silent for a long moment. Then something remarkable happened. A single tear, crystalline and reflecting every color of the spectrum, rolled down his scaled cheek. In Draconis culture, tears were sacred, shed only in moments of profound emotion. I came here to beg for scraps, Kelthir whispered, and found something I thought my people had lost forever. What's that? Hope and perhaps a friend. Ronan smiled and extended his grease-stained hand. Partners, then? Kelthir carefully wrapped his clawed hand around Ronan's, mindful of his strength. Partners. 3 months later, Hale and Kelthir Starship Repairs had become the most requested maintenance service on Proxima Station. Ronan's skill and Kelthir's ability to work in conditions that would incinerate most species made them invaluable. But more than that, their friendship had become something of a legend on the station. The human and the dragon, proof that the galaxy's painful past didn't have to define its future, that sometimes a miracle wasn't some grand cosmic event. Sometimes it was as simple as seeing someone's hunger and choosing kindness over indifference. Sometimes it was looking into someone's eyes and seeing not what they were but what they could be. And sometimes miracles started with a simple question, "May I have the leftovers, sir?" And an even simpler answer, "I can do better than that."